All right. So I want to talk about how to play music, how to play the guitar. So if I sit here, pick a song, or pick a chord, and just start playing. Whatever it is. I'm playing chords, and then I'm adding a melody to that. But where are these coming from? You might think scales, or maybe that's the correct answer, maybe. Because these notes certainly are coming from scales. But that's not really how I'm thinking about it, because that's not a very useful way, I find, to think about these things. So rather than thinking, okay, if we play a D, well, what's the D major scale? Right, so come up with a melody from there, okay. Well, that sounds great. No, but if you play a D major chord, if you've learned a D major chord, you've learned this little pinky trick. It's right there, it's easy, everyone learns it, everyone plays it, you encounter it a lot. And pretty soon that becomes just a part of your repertoire. It's an option. If I'm playing G, C, D, keep G, C, D, right? Well, why did I add that note? Well, I was just playing a D, so why not try it? Might work, might not. It could be another key, maybe the key of D. D, G, A, D, D, G, A, D. Right. So I'm not thinking, well, what scale are we using? Well, which key? If we're in D, and then that's the fourth. So no, you're just thinking a chord, and pretty soon you'll encounter lifting off that middle finger. So that's what's happening on that high E string. 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open, 2nd fret. Right? I'm not thinking scale, I'm just thinking about modifying a chord. So that's the first thing. We want to think about each chord has different things that we can do with it that will have different sounds. So this sounds a certain way, this sounds a certain way. And maybe that works on the middle finger, so let me try the other finger. Well, that sounds kind of nice. Well, how about the middle finger? Well, that could work too, right? Different sound, but so I think most people will find some of these just kind of through experimentation. Or maybe you do that with the D, you jump to an A major chord and accidentally. That's a really common mistake that people do. You end up on the 3rd fret. Whoops. Oh, wait a second. That sounded kind of nice. Huh. Maybe do it with your pinky. Right? But so these things are so close to the chord, these little modifications, that you encounter them by accident just in your playing. And hopefully you start experimenting and realize that this is kind of the foundation of playing the guitar. So we could, if we wanted to come up with a little melody, you might think, well, the melody, Jimi Hendrix, these people, they're playing up here. They're playing all over the fretboard. So like a D, play a D major scale. Right? Play that up there, and like D major. But that's no good because you're jumping between the chord and the melody. So you don't have any harmony and accompaniment supporting the melody as you're playing it. So instead of practicing I can play a D major scale, you go, well, can you leap? I can do all these fancy things. Okay, but you can't play the chord with that, So rather than working so much on scales, unless you want to, it's a free country, I would work on going through each of your chords and finding what else you can play that supports that. So with that in mind, I'll be doing a series, maybe one on each chord, things to do with a D, things to do with an A, things that, major chords, minor chords. And the other thing I would add to that is, here's a huge mistake that guitarists make, or at least guitarists that are struggling to kind of move up. Here's a huge thing I see. Let's say I want to play a really complex song. How's that go? I forget how that goes, but anyway, that song, so it has this chord down to this chord, up back. Deep River Blues, maybe. If you've never played these chords, and you don't finger pick, but you say, I want to be able to play that song, that's where you start. So you say, well, what's this first chord? No idea. This is. So where does it go? It goes like this. Wait, like this? That's not right. Maybe it's this. Oh, that's it. Okay. And then what's the next? So it starts with a pluck. So it goes this string and then this string and then this string and then this string, and it goes to this. What's this next chord? How do I do that? And then it goes to here, and So you're never going to learn a song like that. You're going to learn 4 seconds of a song, and you're going to keep playing that over and over, can't get any further, and you're just going to lose interest. Why? Well, you don't know these chords, so that seems impossible. If you can't pick it, that seems impossible, and then you're trying to learn both simultaneously. So you just learn it as a big sequence, and it goes nowhere. That's not the way to learn things. The way to learn things, okay, let's start with the left hand, and just strum the right hand, nice and simple. And maybe you say, wait a second, this chord is an E7. Maybe you learn it, maybe you don't. But this is a drop 2 voicing of an E7. And it's a useful one. There's a C7, D7. You can use this anywhere. So nothing you learn is specific to one song. Everything is useful in other settings. So when you learn something, it is good to know what it is or see it that way and know that it is useful elsewhere. Just put that in your, okay, that's kind of a nice voicing of a chord. I'll keep that in mind, and then maybe I use it down the road somewhere else. Anyway, this next one, diminished chord, so useful. Use it all the time. So, easy. Then start adding the melody. Whatever it is, But so, if we're working on getting the left hand, I probably should have practiced that or not used that as an example, but this is how you work things out. So, okay, well, I'll start with the left hand. Right hand, nice and simple. Eventually you get all the chords. The left hand knows what to do. Then you can work on the right hand. And I wouldn't try to learn to Travis pick for this song. That's a mistake. Well, free country. But it won't be very productive. You want to learn these skills independently, and then maybe there's a song like this kind of in your head, but work towards it. A little out of tune. So, if we think about the rhythm for that, whatever it is. Da 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 da. Three notes. So can you do that without the chord? Or with a basic E, it'll sound nicer. now I'm teaching my right hand what to do. Then I go back to these chords that I've already learned. You know, whatever that is. But anyway, so the point is, I learned something complex. You don't do both hands at once. When you're working on something with your left hand, you're just doing a strum to check, to hear how it sounds. Anything, you know, new chords, new anything. Keep your right hand simple, focus on your left hand. Once you get that and you can do, and you can kind of move that way, then you're working on your right hand. But you need to practice your hands separately. So if I'm working on picking, I'm just going to do a basic chord, just so it's, you know, sounds a little better. Right? So you get your right hand where it needs to be, you get your left hand where it needs to be. Then it's another challenge to work them together. So maybe kind of a tough chord movement, and then sort of a, you know, maybe some kind of picking pattern, you put those together. I don't know, kind of lost my way there. So that's what we're doing. So when we work on these chords, you know, if you're learning in G, and especially if you're at, you know, whatever level you're at, G, start just with that. That's so easy. Anyone can do that. Right? And you can start getting more complex with the rhythm, but if you look at the left hand, you know, whatever. But all I'm doing is just moving this finger, my ring finger, back and forth. So if you can play a G, you're already able to do everything with your left hand that you'd need to play these chords. Then it's a matter of working on your right hand tediously, you know, and then kind of combining those. But when you hit a certain point, you just think, oh, well, if I can do G to C to D, I could do G with a little melody to C, with a little melody to D, with a pinky thing there, back to G. And once you can do that with that hand, then but it could be can also be other styles, you know, maybe you want to do a little bit of flat picking, you know, so with the G there. So I'm just moving this finger, you know, from one string to another, and then on to C. So if you can move your finger on those strings, your left hand can do everything it needs to do. And then it's about kind of synchronizing. And then, you know, then it's about getting more and more complex. But so this series I'm going to do is about what to do with each chord. If you're playing an A, here are some things you can do, and then maybe kind of show them in context. And I would just work on your left hand, you know, take what you can, and then I'll, you know, do other series, maybe about finger picking or flat picking or whatever it is, or other skills you need to learn. But really, it seems fundamental, or seems maybe a little too basic. I'd rather learn, you know, thunderstruck or something, you know. But if you want to just sit on your couch and play, or play for friends or something, there's nothing that impresses them as much as if you... whatever, I don't know. It doesn't always go well, as you can see. But that's how I would start approaching music, start thinking about music and chords. Chords are the big key to everything, in my humble opinion. All right, good luck.